This week on It's Happening Out. Trump's shutdown continues. Mickey D's serve for Clemson champions. What does it mean to be a man? Toxic masculinity. Another radical hate game, Jesus Strikes Back. What's the tea on RuPaul's Drag Race? Does it create negative portrayals of our LGBT community? Lifestyle expert NapoleonPlays. Famous trans activist Aaron Phoenix. DJ Diva Power Infiniti. Log cabin Republican Joe Brookman, and our host, Al Ferguson.
Well, good morning. My goodness. Good evening, America, and welcome to America's most popular live gay talk show, It's Happening Out. We are coming to you tonight from Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We affectionately say the gayest place on planet Earth. And we welcome you tonight to our show. We have a fantastic show for you tonight. You'll notice we have a little bit of a different set. We're very excited because we're doing a little of experimenting tonight. Because
that'll come up later too.
Yes, exactly. We are at the new Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel, and we are doing a new weekly pool party here. And we have a lot of events coming in the next year here and in Fort Lauderdale. We encourage you to come down to Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors, and Oakland Park and see this great new facility. We have a fantastic new partnership with this hotel, very unique. They're flying the big gay flag out front, which we really appreciate.
Anywhere we go, they kind of have to.
They kind of have. Well, if you're present, we kind of have to fly the gay flag. So we welcome you. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about tonight. We remind you of several of our rules that we hope you'll participate in. First off, we remind you, this is a live show. Anything that happens, you're going to see it live. If we have interruption with our signal, if Power says something terribly inappropriate, or whatever it might be.
Al just drops down dead.
Yes.
Gee. Well, wow.
Escalated.
We're starting strong.
We're starting right out of the gate. Napoleon, your mother's here tonight.
Yes!
Listening to it.
Yes!
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Hello. Thank you for coming.
We're going to break out in from Hairspray. Good morning, Baltimore, here in a moment.
Please comment below if you want to see
And
Al
so I
sing
just
and
want to
dance.
say, your mother just heard your death wish of me, by the way.
Not a
sitting in
wish.
this audience.
Just a prediction. I want you here for a long time.
Protection. Come on. All right. I want to remind you, though, we are live. We have told you about many of the topics that we're talking about tonight. If we, by chance, don't get to them, we'll come back to them in another show. We're sorry, we're live. I cannot predict what these guys are going to say. This is totally not scripted. I haven't heard any of the words that they're going to be saying in our topics. So as a result, I know you'll be patient with us being live. Frequently. You will see me do this frequently through the show. Last thing, we would like you to like us on Facebook and join our Facebook group. Lots of you, thousands of you are there. Tonight on our show, It's Happening Out, you'll see in the comment scroll there, we have a sixth host online. Chris Warner is there tonight, and he'll be talking about a lot of things. We encourage you to post in the string. If it's really, really good, I'm going to see it right here in front of me, and we'll incorporate you in the show. So that's how it works. We're getting ready to start. Everybody understand?
Yep.
We're getting ready to have some fun?
Let's
Hell
go.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Here we go. All right. First, let's start with headlines. We always begin there. Is there anything going on in the news?
Something we may have mentioned before.
We've mentioned it for weeks now. Let's begin with how we started headlines last week. Watch this.
And the week before.
My question is, next Thursday, we'll come back on the air.
Oh,
Will we still be in shutdown? Yes or no? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to hope no.
And?
Yes.
We're still going to be in shutdown. 1 week from tonight, we will ask this question again.
What is your answer, by the way? Yes or no?
The answer is yes, we're still going to be in shutdown. Okay. We're back, America, and we're still in shutdown. Our government is closed. There's lots of consequences to the shutdown. We've told you about different things. Production will show you some of the slides about the TSA and other effects. Joe clearly made the point today that the IRS is calling back like 500 million employees at the IRS, which I thought was very sad when you said that to us today. One of the most interesting things that happened this week is the kind of backfire on Clemson's National Collegiate Championship football team. They went to the White House, but the chefs weren't there to cook any food at the White House. So our president paid for fast food to be brought in, and he paid for it personally. He brought Mickey D's into the White House and served Big Macs on silver trays. And the imaging was beautiful. So we've had a lot of interesting things happen. Then there was an interesting Humpty Dumpty meme this week. You can see it now. And the meme was Humpty Trumpty promised a wall. Trumpy said Mexico pays for it all. But all the king's horseshit and all the fox spin couldn't hide Trumpty was lying again.
Wow.
And we all laughed about the meme.
Where's the lie?
So we're in shutdown. All right. Anybody have any thoughts about what's
Yes,
going on in the shutdown?
child. I got a thought or two. Okay, well, first of all, Clemson college football and champions getting a McWhack spread is the least of our problems. Quickly, around 800,000 federal workers have missed at least one paycheck already. By January 25th, many will have already missed two.
And that's a lot of people going paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yes, yes. The average take-home pay for federal workers is $500. $500 a week. 350,000 of these federal workers have been furloughed or temporarily sent home. They can at least apply for unemployment benefits or seek temporary work, but the remainder are working for free to maintain critical government services. I am a nervous flyer. I'm quite nervous about flying right now. It's not only TSA agents that are calling out sick. It's also air traffic controllers that their jobs are affected as well, which I
Bitch,
don't
my
feel.
mom flew her. You trying to scare her from going home?
More power to her. More power to her, honey. I'm the one that's scared.
So the report on TSA is that there is no change in the weights associated with anybody getting on board planes. The average weight is between 5 and 25
Yeah, they're just
minutes.
shutting down terminals
That depends on what airport you go to, because
The only-
Miami International Airport, a gate has been shut down, and I believe it was another one in Texas or something.
In
There's
Houston.
been a few.
It's
I
air
think-
traffic control.
I think
no
the
flights.
safety.
No flights were impacted.
It's not about the flights impacted. If less agents, yes, flights are impacted if less agents are there to do the job. When I go on a flight, I depend on those agents. I'm one of those people. I don't mind getting search patted, whatever, harassed sexually. I don't give a damn.
I don't mind
As long as when
You don't mind getting
I
patted
don't
down.
mind.
You-
No, John.
Please pat me down. as you go
Any
through the
excuse to
TSA.
touch me will do. But but when I depend on that because I know that they're keeping me safe, and I'm a nervous flyer. So when I hear that there's less agents doing that job, I'm thinking, what if something or somebody gets through?
Allow
But
me
they
to
still have the same-
refocus
Go ahead.
the focus of the shutdown. The question now is, of course, I know the majority of the gay community is blaming the president.
The majority of the country.
And the majority of the country does think that it sits with him. But now the Democrats are kind of involved in this too, in holding it up. What's going to push the two sides together to finally start to discuss and negotiate? Your thoughts in terms of how...
I think the key discussion point is border security, and the two sides have to come together and talk about border security and the priority, and there has to be a give and a take. Things like DACA, 1.8 million DACA recipients has been proposed 2 years ago, and the Democrats shot that down in terms of negotiation points. So the two sides have to come together and negotiate. To date, Chuck and Nancy have chosen not to attend meetings, not to send their A-list folks to negotiate. They've just basically shut it down.
Why would they do
and,
that?
and gone to Puerto
Our
Rico on
president
vacation.
has literally temper tantrumed out of the negotiation.
Thank you,
So
exactly.
what are they supposed to do?
And
Give
you-
him a
and
bottle
you
and
think-
hope that he's nursed for the day?
And you think not showing up isn't a temper tantrum?
I think
It's their own temper tantrum. It's passive aggressive behavior.
if you left this table right now and I chose not to show up next week, I wouldn't blame myself for thinking that this was unprofessional, and I would expect nothing less from the
And
president.
I
the
would
president,
blame I would
exactly.
blame
United
them
States.
as being
I'm
unprofessional.
curious because I hear your observation completely, and I do have empathy for the observation that the Democrats have a responsibility to be at the table. But to Napoleon's point, do you think that the president equally has responsibility of saying, I can't get the border security I want, so we are going to put in place a plan that is going to allow the reopening of the government while we negotiate?
Well,
That's
and let's,
the
al- let's
problem.
also
Wait,
not.
I just asked him a question.
The problem with that is the president responded to Nancy Pelosi saying, if I open it, can we negotiate a border wall? And she said, absolutely no wall. So why would the president open the government and take away his point of leverage?
Okay, I understand.
If she says
I'm sorry
no.
for interrupting. What were you going to
His
say?
point of leverage, and a toddler holding their breath until they get their way is a point of leverage. in
That
negotiation,
sounds
too.
like Nancy Pelosi
I mean, I'm
and
just
Chuck
saying.
Schumer.
Well, but let's fast
They're holding
forward.
their breath.
Let's rewind a little bit. So when Trump said himself to Chuck Schumer, I quote, I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down, and I am not going to blame you for it. He said he would take full credit for
So
the shutdown.
that has
now
nothing
all
to
of a sudden
do.
it's the
That
Democrats
has nothing
who are
to
at fault
do
for the shutdown.
with coming to the
and
table.
we got the weapon
That
of
has
mass
nothing-
distraction with this
That has
McDonald's
nothing-
crap going
Weapon
on.
of mass
Okay.
distraction. That's
So what you're
it's-
doing is trying to distract from the issue of negotiating around border security. And
He's
that's
not
what you
getting
seem to
it.
do.
He's not getting it.
So-
he's known this from.
okay.
He's known this at this
Then-
point.
then
So there's
if
no
there's-
negotiation here
well-
except I'm going to hold my breath until I get my way. That's
Oh,
not a
really?
negotiation.
And you don't think that's
And
what
not no
Nancy
art of the
Pelosi's
deal.
doing?
Who cares?
Nancy Pelosi's holding her
not
breath.
my president.
Yes, well, she's your leader of your house, and if she doesn't come forth with a
And
proposal,
he knew
how
from
do
the
you
beginning.
negotiate?
He knew from jump that he
But
wasn't going to
wait,
get it.
Joe, and I have an obligation to explore your observation. If the Democrats say you get $1.4 billion, and we've negotiated to that level, we'll give you 1.4, why is there continued shutdown? Because they say we're negotiating, and that's as far as we'll go.
But Nancy has said no to that. She said you will not get 1.4. She said, well, you will get nothing.
Okay, all
So
right.
if,
All right,
if you
all right,
can't
I got
come,
it.
No,
I got
she
it.
actually what she said was that you will get nothing for that for a border wall. Which listen, what we all agree on. Let's talk about what we do agree on. What we agree on is the need for border security. Despite the bullshit that keep getting floated by Trump, that the liberals and the Democrats don't want border security. That's a lie. We all want border security. The issue is, how do we get there? The Democrats do not believe that a wall is going to solve the problems when it comes to immigration and the problems that comes with immigration, which is drugs getting into our country and criminals,
And
which,
neither
by
does
the
the
way, did
Department
not
of
get
Homeland
in
Security.
through the
all right,
border.
all right.
interesting they
wait,
agreed with it.
Can I add some brevity to the
5 years
situation?
ago.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
So I know McDonald's being served by Trump. It sounds insulting, but he's probably 80% made of McDonald's. And it reminded me of a visual from Futurama, to all of you that know that show, where the slurm, which is the Coca-Cola of that world, is essentially made by being shat out of a giant worm. And I can't help but visualize now McDonald's being made by being shat out of a giant, or average size, in his case, Trump. So that's a fun little visual for all you out there.
All right,
in the
all right.
Futurama.
I have every single show of 2019 because we have now, no one has said it, but allow me to say it loud and clear. This is the longest government shutdown in the history of the United States of America.
Yes, and finally he has
longest.
beat Obama at something.
Yeah.
And even Fox said it was the stupidest shutdown in history.
including the
all
defeat of ISIS,
every
increasing
single show
jobs.
in 2019, I've come and asked you the exact same question, and I've opened headlines every single week with the exact same question.
Start with Napoleon.
And I will do it this time, and thank you, and I was going to start with Napoleon, because Napoleon's been virtually the only one that says it's going to end. This time next Thursday, live at It's Happening Out, will we still be in government shutdown? Napoleon, yes or no?
No.
No, we won't be. The optimism I love
It's
from the
fading.
youngest.
It's fading quickly. This is what you do to youth, America. You kill us. You kill us
See?
with your bullshit.
See,
Joe.
that's why he's in purple,
Yes.
because he's changing.
Yes. All right, Joe, yes or no?
Yes.
We'll be in shutdown.
Absolutely.
Howard, yes or
Yes.
no?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Fear.
Aaron,
I think he's starting to crack under the pressure. I'm going to say no.
no. Now wait. Interestingly enough, I'm coming in. He asked me last week. Now I'm going to be the tilt on the yes or no. Next Thursday, we will no longer be in shutdown.
Did you notice
the
how he-
government's going to reopen?
Did you notice how
We'll
he just
wait
made
and
himself the
see.
most important part of that question?
Exactly, right. All right, that's headlines on the shutdown. Now, let's move forward and talk about something interesting that a Republican did. This week,
time for
the
everything.
Ohio's new governor, Mike DeWine, was sworn in as the new governor of Ohio. And it was done in the middle of the night. He was sworn in in his home at 12:03 in the morning. Approximately 19 minutes later, he signed an executive order that banned discrimination against LGBT people that worked for Ohio government. It shocked everybody that he did it and the way he did it. Come on, Ohio being the pivotal state.
And it was
And a Republican
overturning
acting like a
basics.
grown-up.
Wait, what's going on here? Any thoughts?
I applaud him for the executive order. I think it's great. How he did it and when is bizarre, okay? Because Kasich also had signed some executive orders related to that. What I would
On
really
the opposite side. He's the one that instilled those
Kasich's a
orders.
Republican.
Opposite side meaning he
So-
instilled the ban against trans.
He actually overturned that, though.
He overturned it. My hope would be that rather than an executive order, that the Ohio legislature would put this in place. Otherwise, the next governor can
Exactly.
remove the executive
orders
orders.
move
They go back and forth. So,
but does
but
anybody
Legislation
think
can't
it's
be easily
bizarre?
overturned because it has to
Okay,
be
so it's
voted.
bizarre.
Okay.
Does anybody think that this is a big deal in terms of Ohio being such a
yeah.
bellwether of all of America?
Yeah, I think he was making a statement. I think he did it when he did and as soon as he did to make a statement and a stance that Republican or Democrat aside, we're going to take a stand against discrimination. We're going to stand for all people in our state. Now, granted, it only covers state employees, but it's a symbol of what he views as the future of Ohio and hopefully the future of the country.
Well, interesting. We're going to watch this. I think that there's a lot of bellwether issues here, and we're going to watch what
I
goes
just
on
want
to
to
Ohio.
say really quick, juxtapose that with our dickhead governor, DeSantis, who excluded LGBT people from his anti-discrimination order. And I just have to really applaud this guy. I mean, right is right and wrong is wrong, no matter what side of the aisle you fall on. My hat's off to him. Well, not my hat's off because I have to wear it for the rest of this show. But
Yeah, he said it was a matter of human decency.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
It is. It's the truth.
All right. What's going on in
Thanks, Mom.
Ohio is very interesting, and what's going on in Florida is also equally interesting.
Right here at this table, folks.
Last thing in our headlines is something strange in our headlines. Today is the 97th birthday of Betty White. That's all we're going to say. We're saying it's a headline. It's big news. The world lives and dies literally by Betty White, and we congratulate
Oh my
her
gosh,
we love
on
you,
where she got.
She
We
should
love
be
you,
in
Betty.
infinity because that bitch keeps on and on and on. And on.
Exactly. All right. Those are our headlines in the news. We always start our show with that. Now, we follow the headlines up with what else? Gel shots.
God.
And we're going to
Yes.
take some
The gay
shots.
way.
Before we play the game, watch this from Gel Shots. All All right, we're going to play one of my favorite things that we do, and it's happening out, and it's a game we affectionately call I'd Swallow That. I have no idea what that means.
You wouldn't.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, you do.
When we get to the masculinity topic, we'll talk about it there.
He has more experience than any of us.
Right. So our game is called I Swallow That.
I'm being told no.
Gel Shots is a great product. I love it because it doesn't require refrigeration, and it's a great party game. So I encourage
it's roofie proof.
And it's roofie proof.
It's so flavorful, too.
Yeah, lots of flavors, 6 great flavors. So here's how the game works. I'm going to ask a question. Our hosts here have no idea. They haven't heard the questions I'm getting ready to ask. It's agree or disagree. They can't touch their gel shot. And if, after I ask the question, they agree, they pick up a gel shot and they down it. Power's at one end of the table and Joe's at the other end of the table for a reason, because they get totally messy as they do their shots. All right. Everybody understand our
it
rules?
mirrors
Suck it
your life.
in, suck it in, and
Play
one
it
fell
play it at
swoop.
home. It's a lot of
And it
fun.
mirrors-
We encourage you. We love gel shots. All right. Question number 1. My life has improved since I started working at It's Happening Out.
Is that before or after I met you? That's
I met Napoleon at day 1 at It's Happening Out, at conception
sorry.
discussion. I call it,
you might call it our baby.
That's shady.
Did it bite back,
Trying
girl?
to
I
fuck
want
trying
alimony.
to fuck up my look.
all right. All right, apparently a lot of lives improved. Did anybody's life get worse? Oh, everybody did their shot. I guess not. Question number 2.
Okay.
Well, trying to.
Question number
guys keep
2.
going.
No touching. Shh, shh. Here we go. Question number 2. I'd swallow that. Henry Cavill should never win a this or that question ever.
You know what? Y'all don't deserve him. He shouldn't win.
How do you win a this or that question?
By being the best by this
Wait,
table.
you're gonna take a shot? He should never win.
Yeah,
He
you
should
know,
never
My
win?
exact statement. Y'all aren't good enough. Sorry.
Oh.
If you want to put
I
anything
want
else
him to
before-
win.
Is, can we play back 2 weeks ago? Well, I was going to before, but then
I
you went
live
off
for
on
Henry
that
Cavill. I just lived for your rant even more.
I'm ready to rant again. I'm Henry. I'm ready for you to call me. Hi.
Henry's never calling you, dude.
That's
Ever.
okay. It can be a you up text. I'm cool with that.
Mrs. Napoleon, you need to have a
He just-
conversation with your son about his infatuation with Henry Cavill. I'm just telling
He
you.
just wants them naked.
Question
pics,
number
just text
3.
the naked
Infatuated with a
pics.
lot of people.
Wait, apparently Mrs. Napoleon doesn't know we're live on television right now, and she's talking to me from the audience.
She said I want a gel shot, by the way.
Okay,
so
well,
let's be
somebody
clear.
get Mrs. Napoleon a gel shot, please.
She has to
Okay.
deal with him. She
Question
deserves
that.
No shit. I'm
Oh,
out.
wait. Ooh. All right, question
I
number
didn't even do
3.
that. You're lucky.
I swallowed that. If my best friend's spouse was cheating on them, I would feel obligated to let them know.
Honey, I'd call that bitch out so fast.
I just don't know anyone that's in a monogamous relationship anymore.
No,
Well, I mean,
Other than that,
there is that.
Seriously?
But that wasn't
I mean,
part of the
very
question.
few.
no, man.
None of my best
I
friends
have
are.
well, first off, I suspect at this table there's a monogamous relationship.
I don't. What are you talking about?
Also, it's still possible to cheat in a non
You're in a monogamous relationship?
Yes.
I did not know that.
because you don't listen.
I listen. It's just that you talk about your husband all the time, but it's the only dick for
Well,
me.
it's a very private. Their relationship's very private.
We have
First
privacy
off,
on here.
She married,
Howard has
not dead.
explained
She still
that
knows she likes
he's-
dick.
Well, yeah, all right. Okay, all right. Question number 4. I'd swallow
I
that.
learned something. Thank you, Power.
Question number 4. I'd swallow that. RuPaul is not as hot to trot as that girl thinks she is.
Oh, allow me to take one for all of them.
Wait, say that again.
RuPaul is not as hot to trot as that girl thinks she is.
I feel like there's like a little age barrier
Ah,
of
that's
localism.
shade.
You ain't gonna back me
shady.
up on this one.
That's
It's a
shade.
shady
Fine,
question.
I'll be the shady one.
That's shade.
All right.
Uh-huh. Then when we get on
Do you
RuPaul to
know
be judges, you're going to be
there
left
is
out.
There on
gonna be the
RuPaul's Drag Race, All Stars is going on right now, season 11.
She don't like
Season
trans
4.
people anyway.
All Star season 4.
I know. All Stars 4, season 11
No, it's
of
not.
RuPaul's Drag Race will start
Season
this
14.
spring.
Oh, okay.
It's 11.
You're right. I did need to listen. You're correct.
You need to listen. Thank
Speak
you.
quickly.
That was growth right there.
I was going to make a joke, but good job, dude.
Miss Napoleon is here.
All
as
right.
you say.
Question
You better
number
be on
5.
behavior.
Question number 5. I'd swallow that. I experience the pleasures of the flesh by myself more often than a person of my age should.
Oh my God.
What? All right.
I experience
Turn
the
away.
pleasures of the flesh by myself more often than a person
Wait.
my age.
By myself?
I'm
like
I
you're
don't
gonna-
know what that means.
No, I mean,
What's
You
the
do.
national average for our age,
I don't-
Napoleon? I'm
I-
not really
Whatever
sure.
the
I don't
national
either.
average is, I got to beat.
I have no idea.
Pun
I mean,
intended
like-
on the beat.
Wait, take your shot.
Yeah, I'm
first.
going to take my shot. I just want to say, for the record, that question was just shady boots. None of your business.
It's just a way to slam on people that have higher levels of
So,
testosterone.
since
Oh,
we're talking about Baltimore, it's like you can't stop the beat.
All right. Question number 6. I'd swallow that. I would have sex with someone who is transgender.
Did y'all see the model we had from Andrew Christian last, like 2 weeks ago? Answer no?
Y'all know I'm not the only transgender person out there. He's like,
Wait.
there are others. You don't gotta be all shady
Once
like
again,
that.
no, we had like the hottest guy.
All
So
right.
everybody but Joe would sleep with the trans person?
Wait.
Yeah.
I can't
It's
say
a great.
that.
I don't-
Tell us why.
It's not. I'm not judging.
No. It's not judging. Just tell
I
us
don't,
why.
I don't know.
He's newly out.
Now, and
So,
wait,
you know.
I take the shot, and I told the production team this afternoon I was going to take the shot on this question.
Because you'll take whatever you can get.
Wait. What are you laughing about?
Nothing at all.
What? What are you still laughing about?
It just gives me delight when Napoleon,
Just-
nails it.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Well, it's so rare. We're always shocked.
I told you,
when
I'm
it
witnessing
happens.
his growth.
I know,
He's growing
exactly.
on me,
He's
as someone
growing
told
on
me
you.
before that he's growing on me.
Here's the thing, and that's the reason why I asked you. I said I was going to take the shot, but from a more political correctness standpoint, because it really forced me to think, wait, what's going on for me to think about it and to not even completely instantly embrace it? And then I realized, wait, this is way deeper in terms of how
I'll go.
we deal with gender fluidity.
I was married. I'm not into vaginas. And I was married and I'm not into women's boobs. So whichever way you're going there is not something I'm attracted to.
Yeah, well, but there's
There-
trans men.
Yeah, and there are trans people with neither of those things.
Yeah.
Transgender bodies are not just the two
It's really
dichotomies
interesting, and of course, we
And you said you
our
were top
journey.
last week.
Again, I want to point out the same thing. We've all experienced it. I'm really glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here because you bring new things. I'm really glad you're here because for me, I am evolving because of you, and I love that I'm learning and I'm challenging myself because of you. Thank you very much for doing that.
And if we could cue the Pokemon evolution music, I'd be very.
All right, speaking of that, all right, so that's our game. I'd swallow that.
That's
We
all?
love gel shots. Yep, that's it. And we have a few more that we're
Yeah,
probably
we
going to
usually
be
have like
doing
8.
through the show. No, we're only doing 6.
Give the rest of these to Napoleon's mom.
Yeah, his mom needs them. All right, next topic that we want to talk about. My goodness, was this a big week? What does it mean to be a man? Gillette, the razor company, did a short movie, let's call it that. It was a short movie this week about masculinity. Before we start to talk about it, watch what Gillette did.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual
Toxic
harassment.
masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it?
It's likely happening here in Bullying as well. A problem.
We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
Once, but she says it's crossed the line.
And there will be no going back. Because we We believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie. Come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men, we're acting like we gonna shake it.
and small.
I am strong.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay? Okay.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
Well, first, before we dive into toxic masculinity, let us please congratulate the bravery of Gillette. To produce this and to put it out there and even challenge manhood and masculinity is really groundbreaking in the way that they've done, and we congratulate them from, at least at the minimum from the gay community, we congratulate them for what they have done. An interesting thing happened in their posting of this. It's been super topical this week. Many people have called for a boycott of Gillette. And there's lots of strings of people commenting very negatively against Gillette for saying these words about toxic masculinity. One of them, just as an example, was Piers Morgan. And Piers said basically what we call let boys be boys. He said in a tweet that we're showing you here, I used Gillette razors my entire adult life, but this is an absurd virtue signaling PC guff may drive me away to a company less eager to fuel the current pathetic global assault on masculinity.
And we all know Piers Morgan is
let boys be damn boys, let men be damn men. Was it a dog whistle to say behavior is acceptable?
He has no authority.
Terry Crews replied, judge me not by the enemies I've made, which was a brilliant observation against Piers Morgan. Franklin Roosevelt's comment. Toxic masculinity and its effects. What do y'all think?
Well, I cried when I watched this commercial. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. And I was shocked because it's a commercial, you know, and you know how I usually am about corporations, but I was breathtaking when I watched it, and it really, in a good way, yes, because they're taking a stand against something really important, but also it made me realize and assess the fact that toxic masculinity has shaped my entire life. And it has shaped who I am as a person. From the time I was born, I was raised by toxic masculinity in a violent environment. When I first started realizing I might be trans, toxic masculinity was what kept me from accepting myself. I thought, I'm not aggressive, I'm not scary, I'm not, you know, all of these intimidating things that men are taught to be, so therefore I'm not a real man. And it took a long time. It kept me in the closet for a long time before I realized that I don't hold other men accountable, or I don't hold other men to those standards and say, well, you're not a real man because you don't act that way. So why do I do it to myself? And I'm sure it's something a lot of people can relate to. It's not just a trans thing. But I've experienced it in so many different dimensions because I lived on the side of being a target of it as a woman. Assigned female, whatever, the world saw and treated me as a woman. So I dealt with all of that as a victim, if you will, of it. And then through my transition, I've had to navigate every step of the way with this whole, the pressure and the, am I man enough? And what does that even mean? Is non-toxic masculinity even a thing? And
meaning all masculinity could be bad.
I think there was a time in my life where I feared that. I was afraid to say I'm a man because I thought that meant being toxic. And it's taken me, now at almost 30, I'm starting to realize that yes, non-toxic masculinity does exist. And there's a lot to be said for gender and spectrum and all that, but the importance and the impact of the response to this ad for me has been this overwhelming response of anger and resentment and bitterness from men who think that, well, you're attacking masculinity. And it shows that that's a common thing, that people think, well, all masculinity is toxic masculinity.
And by the way, I would just, to your question, I would say it's not just toxic, if that's the right word that we use, a masculinity thing toward trans. It is toward gay. It is toward effeminate gays. It is toward women. Mm-hmm. It is a bullying nature, and even very masculine men that play football, for example, pushing and shoving. It's a trained response to be the strong pride leader of the Lions.
Well, and as men, we turn it on ourselves.
Are you saying that's toxic masculinity?
Yeah, you're conflating a lot of ideas right there.
Because,
okay,
bullying.
Tell me what you think.
Well, I think creating yet another term is dangerous because it's a PC thing. The Gillette film talked about bullying and bias that was really unprovoked. And I think bullying and bias are things we can talk about generally and apply to both sexes, okay? I just fear that labeling something yet one more politically correct term is difficult. I mean, why don't you have toxic femininity? Because some of those same things you can mirror into the women's world.
Let me ask you to that observation and challenge you, and really a general observation. Many people have said, lots have been written, that women should be president of the United States, they should run the Senate, they should run the House, they should run our boardrooms, because if women did, the world would be better. And the whole point is that women frequently, especially as they mature, do not act the way men do. And that's the challenge of, I think, what Gillette puts in front of us, is we teach our boys to become this as men. What do you think about that?
I don't know that everybody teaches their children to be toxic.
No.
Meaning you did it with your kids.
But society does.
Well, but that's a matter of what we choose to teach our children, whether it's on my 3 daughters or my son, in terms of what you do, how you behave, how that impacts the other sex. And both sides are guilty of this. I mean, I have conversations with my daughters all along about how you're dressing and how you're portraying yourself, because sometimes that's wrong. It's inviting, and sometimes it's inviting bias.
But the question, even in that observation, is if the female is provocative, she is a slut. If the boy, the teenage boy or the college boy, is very sexually active, he's a stud.
I don't. I hear you, but I don't buy those labels. I think it
okay,
has
but maybe you don't. But Aaron immediately said, "But it's a societal issue.
Right.
Our society buys into
And
it."
it is a societal issue. And I'm sorry I just wanted, because your story, I mean, that's not even your whole story, and I want to hear so much more. And I hope that America does too, because there's nothing to compare to that. But masculinity and femininity in themselves are just energy. It's been long established that neither of them is supposedly positive or negative. It's where the symbol of the yin yang comes from. Right. Masculinity does go along with things like wanting to win and competition and being in charge versus cooperation and working as a society. But sometimes we are competing. In terms of survival of the fittest, for example, we are competing. But masculinity in itself isn't toxic. It's what society does to it. And I want to throw that back to you, Al, because it's what words we use. It's not being PC. It's how we communicate and interact with each other.
That's heard. Any other thoughts about the issue of masculinity?
Yeah, I would kind of like to. I mean, I would like to focus on the guys that are getting so all up in arms about this whole commercial and about the message and the boycott. And by the way, I would like to say something, Al. When you said that we thank Gillette on behalf of the gay community, we can't actually really say that, because apparently there's a lot of guys in the gay community that are up in arms over this as well. So, and I guess they would say, you know, we don't speak for the entire gay community, which we don't. We can speak for this panel up here and at its happening.
I think Gillette on behalf of Al's gay community.
Right. But these bitches, you know, but these bitches throwing away their razors, y'all could just send them to me, honey. Because
you need a lot of razors.
Yes, I do. I'm a bald black bitch, and
that is not
those razors are expensive. Y'all dumb as fuck. And you know, I just think that the men that are getting butthurt over this, they are precisely the ones that, quite frankly, that are indicative, and they demonstrate the insecurity, the fragility, and the problem that's symptomatic of this toxic masculinity.
You know, one last observation on Gillette's message. Honestly, when I watched it the first time, I cried too. And you and I come from completely different worlds. And you cried, and I cried. And I generally consider myself pretty masculine. One of the things that when I watched it that I thought was interesting is I thought about Barack Obama. And the reason I thought about Barack Obama is he is one of the best examples that I have seen in the last decade of a very masculine man that has the empathy and emotion to not be toxic in his masculinity. And I just say that I want to bring our conversation to a close, and at the risk of offending some, I again congratulate Gillette for its bravery. It was brave for them to produce this and say this, and I wish about 500 other corporations in America and the world would do the exact same
Something
kind
huge
of thing.
to be said for accountability.
Accountability. Let's move on. Let's play another game. I want to be told something I didn't know. We play this game and we talk about things that we don't know, and I get educated from it. So tell me something I didn't know.
Well, I don't know that you all were aware that the Democratic state representative from Pennsylvania, Brian Sims, who is gay, was banned from Facebook for putting on Facebook a gay slur. Okay? The key is...
We're so happy right now.
No. This is a Facebook foible because we've talked about this before. He was banned from putting on a slur. The slur is a slur he repeated of somebody saying about him that I'm such a hot faggot. And so he was banned for putting on a quote from somebody else.
Yeah,
so they reversed it. But
Facebook, you're out of control. Ladies and gentlemen, you're out of control at Facebook. Other things, tell me something I didn't know.
All right, so I'm going to go back into some more Leather 101, especially for Mom. Hi. So you guys may think of leather community as being some back alley experience, but it really isn't. The entire relationship that you have is about trust, it's about honesty, it's about communication, it's about respect. And those are the core tenets of any leather or fetish relationship. It is not some casual experience that some people might project via Christian Grey.
So tell me
online.
something I didn't know.
Well, I taught you this already. This is for the rest of the world.
Okay.
The leather community is not just about a back alley experience. It is about trust, honesty, communication, and
So
respect.
you're talking about the leather community broadly. Tell about what the leather community is all about.
We don't talk about it enough, so I'm
Got
going to
it.
keep bringing it up.
Okay. Tell me something else I didn't know.
I'm going to go with a question I get asked all the time by straight people, by gay people, by everybody. The word cisgender. Everyone wants to know, what the hell does this mean? Basically, long and short, it's the opposite of transgender. It's not another label. It's not another PC thing. It's actually comes from a Latin word. The word cis is the Latin word for same, as opposed to trans being the Latin word for across. So now you know, cisgender just means that you identify with the gender you were assigned at birth.
Okay.
Simple.
Very good. I didn't know that completely. Anything you want to add?
Well, I'm going to keep it very, very light. Do you guys know that the killer whale, or orca, is actually considered a dolphin?
No.
The animal's name originally translated as whale killer, but it got flipped around. And a dolphin is one of 38 species of toothed whales, so maybe the name isn't so far off. So
That is definitely something I didn't know.
kill
Thank you
other
very
whales?
much. All right, we do this frequently. Tell me something I don't know. We're going to play a new game now. And the first time that we've done it, this is unscripted. The hosts do not know the details of this game. but we call it shag, marry, kill. We're going to play a game where we give our hosts 3 choices of people, and they have to tell us which one they would shag, which one they would marry, and which one they would kill. Everybody understand the rules?
Yeah.
All right. We'll have a slide come up behind
This
us,
is a
I believe.
toxically masculine
Wait.
game,
So
by
I'm
the
a little
way.
young. What does shag mean?
Oh, thank you for saying that. Shout out to all of our British friends and
Always.
Austin Powers.
Always.
Yes.
Shag means
Gonna make you horny,
screw. Yes, that's what it means. All right. That's what
The F
shag
word.
means. Okay, here we go. First choice. Just quickly tell us and perhaps why. Shag, marry, kill. Slide number 1 is coming up. You have 3 choices. Harry Potter, Edwin Cullen, or Christian Grey.
Okay, the characters.
Let's start with Joe.
Oh,
Right to it, please.
I'm going to shag Edward Cullen. I'm going to marry Christian Grey, and I'm going to kill Harry Potter.
Of course you are.
Voldemort.
Exactly, you're Voldemort. You want to kill Harry Potter.
Voldemort's killing Harry Potter. Power, what are you choosing?
Actually, that's exactly my answer too.
Say it again, then.
I would marry Christian Grey. I would shag Edward Cullen, as long as he's still the vampire.
Edwin Cullen is a vampire.
Yes, and I would.
And he sparkles just like you.
You
I
would-
would.
kill.
I would kill Harry because I couldn't do anything with that child.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
He's not a
Aaron.
child anymore, you know
Aaron,
that.
what would you
Child
do?
in the picture.
Aaron?
I would shag Edward Cullen because, yeah, vampires. I would marry Harry Potter because he's a non-toxically masculine man, especially these days. And I would kill Christian Grey because I'm tired of the perpetuated stereotypes of the BDSM community.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Very good.
You agreed with me fully.
Okay.
I would kill this bitch quickly because he made BDSM.
What bitch are we talking about?
Christian Grey, sexy guy that plays him in the movie, sure, but he perpetuated, just like you said.
All right, so you
negative
killed him.
I
stereotypes.
wouldn't give a
But
hot
Who's
damn
shagging and
either.
marrying?
I would shag Edward Cullen because he's British, so that's the guy I'd shag. And Harry Potter, of course I want to marry him. He's an R-word.
I wouldn't give a damn if Christian Grey beat me like 12 years a slave, bitch.
That's the problem. But he don't know how to.
Negative perpetuation.
I
of
wouldn't give a
that
damn.
is not what
He
it's
don't know
about.
what he's doing.
That is not what my community is about. Shame
I
on you,
wouldn't give a
Power.
hot boot. Community out of the community.
He don't know what he's doing.
I
If he don't know
don't
how to
get-
choke me right, I ain't in
I've
it.
hit
well,
a nerve
I'll teach
here.
him. I'll
I've
teach him.
hit a nerve in
That's
our
not
new
what it's
game.
about. It's not
Wait,
about being
I'm gonna
painful. It's about
say
bringing
something
pleasure.
different.
He'll bring pleasure. I don't give a damn
I
what he
would
does.
shag Christian Grey. I would shag him. I would marry Harry Potter, and I would kill Edwin Cullen.
Wow.
Really?
I just well, first he's
eyes.
very thin.
Those eyes.
That's all it takes,
That's
Al.
apparently all it
Shouldn't be
takes.
surprised.
All right, slide 2. Here we go. Shag, marry, kill Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, or Chris Hemsworth.
They all look the same.
Now, let's start with Power. They all look the same. They're blonde. That violated every rule that you have preached.
Oh, man.
Have I?
All right. Shag.
Shag Chris Evans. Marry Chris Hemsworth. I hate to do it, but Chris Pratt, you gotta go.
Yeah, you got to go, Chris. Aaron?
Can someone tell me who they play?
No.
I know they play characters.
No. Well, Chris
my
Pratt
goodness.
is Guardians.
Star-Lord,
Chris
Captain America,
Chris Evans
Thor.
is Captain
Okay,
America.
okay,
and then
okay.
Thor.
I can. I definitely would shag Thor.
Thor, Chris Hemsworth.
Marry the one with more scruff and kill Chris Pratt because I don't know.
Okay. Joe.
I would shag Chris Evans. I would marry Chris Hemsworth. And I'm sorry, Chris Pratt, but
He's gone. All right. Now we turn to blonde, blue eye. Napoleon.
He looks-
And remember, your
He's
mother's
drooling.
listening.
He looks
He's drooling.
tormented over there.
You would shag.
I would shag Chris Evans. I would marry Chris Hemsworth because he combines the strengths of the other two, and I would kill Chris Pratt.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Now, before we show our final slide, this is not
was
a.
yours?
It's not a gay thing. It's not a male thing. And slide number 4 is going to prove both. In slide number 4, your choices of shag, marry, kill are Kellyanne Conway, Megyn Kelly, or Ann Coulter.
They all look the same too.
And let's start with a fan. Joe? Shag? Come on, y'all. Let's get into
I'm
this.
gonna shag Kellyanne, marry Megan, and get rid of Ann.
Okay, Napoleon, shag.
I would shag Megyn Kelly. I would marry. Am I agreeing with you? Fuck.
No, I'm marrying Megan.
Oh, I would shag Megyn Kelly. I would marry Ann Coulter, and I would kill Kellyanne.
You would marry Ann Coulter.
These are my choices in life.
And you're gonna live with them, bitch.
The
Wait, when I get
sizzle
on-
reel is going to be
when I
great.
get on air more
Napoleon
with
would
Megyn
marry
Kelly?
Ann Coulter because we're going to take that completely out of context.
That's exactly
Just
right.
play it. All right, Aaron. Shag?
I'm going to shag Ann Coulter because she looks like she got a lot of pent-up anger, and that would be a good time. I'm gonna marry Megyn Kelly because I kind of like her attitude, even though she's problematic as fuck. And I'm gonna kill Kellyanne Conway because I don't need to even explain that.
All right. And now, this is going to make it into the Hall of Fame. Do not tell us even one time how you're not playing this game. You are shagging.
I'm just gonna kill myself.
As I bust my head against the monitor. You're shagging.
I am shagging, under threat of death, Kellyanne Conway.
Now stop. No counter words because we need this really crisp and clean. You're going to wait one more time. Who would you shag?
I would shag Kellyanne Conway.
All right.
You
and
Power
who,
Infiniti.
Who
Shag
would
Kellyanne Conway.
Who would you marry?
I would marry Megyn Kelly because she's getting a big severance pay.
Yes, she is from NBC.
So yeah,
and she already got one from Fox.
She's being fired again?
No, she got. Go back to sleep. Huh?
Yeah.
All right, and then
of course, Ann Coulter has to go.
All right, very good. All right, that's our game, Shag, Marry, Kill. If you like us playing this, apparently the Secret Service doesn't like us playing this game very much. We'll do it again, and if you like it, tell us about it
that question.
on.
I protest. And if you're looking for any of us, you can find me at Al's Room at the Ramada Inn.
Okay, next we want to tell you about what we call affectionately the original drag queen. Carol Channing passed this week at 97 years old.
97, yeah.
97 years old. And we want to tell you a little bit about Carol Channing's life. A lot of young gay guys may not know. Watch this.
I don't know any actors that don't.
Carol, what's the next question?
And I could pretend that I'm a Chilean.
It really was. It's like the Jerry Lewis or George Stein.
Carol Channing, that wonderful doll from Hello Dolly, as the wackiest widow since Auntie Mame.
Well, for a lot of younger gay men, lesbian women, you might not be as familiar with Carol Channing, but we affectionately say America's first drag queen. She was a gigantic supporter of the gay community long before it became fashionable to be a supporter of the gay community, as you see in the reel that we just ran. Carol Channing's passing is epic, really, in this year of Stonewall. And in salute to her passing and her life and what she did, we thought we would tell you some of the things that Carol Channing said about the gay community. And we're going to read some quotes to you about it. And we're going to start with Power.
Carol Channing on why gay men adore her. I don't know, but I'm terribly grateful. I mean, gay men seem to always know who has talent before the rest of the public does, don't you think? A stamp of approval from the gay community is almost a guarantee of success.
Very
Not
nice.
wrong.
Aaron?
Carol Channing on being a drag queen. She said, just ask Liza Minnelli, Bette Midler, or Cher. I think they would agree. In San Francisco, they made me their queen. They have a new empress every year, but a queen is for life. Isn't that wonderful?
It's a great quote. Carol Channing on drag queens impersonating her. I'm the worst judge. It's a huge compliment, and I'm honored, but it is so hard to watch. Every time I see someone impersonate me, I can't help but think, I must have a hormonal imbalance. Johnny Depp has said he wants to play me in a movie when I die. Wouldn't that be great? People say, but he's a man. But it doesn't surprise me at all. I can't remember the last time one of my impersonators didn't have a 5 o'clock shadow. Napoleon.
Carol Channing on performing at Fire Island and seeing men mating. I have no clue what to expect from the Fire Island. Dating? Oh, mating. Well, you see everything when you work in the theater. We are used to undressing in front of everyone backstage, so there are no secrets. However, I still think that discretion is classy. I don't care who you are.
Joe.
This is Carol Channing on politics. There hasn't been a great politician since Jack Kennedy. Washington reminds me of my own profession. 5,000 shows of Hello Dolly, and you hope you finally get the next one right.
Great.
And let me just say, we commented on her in the gay community, but even just as a performer, if you haven't seen her, go out and see her. She is a legend for a reason. She's hilarious. She's impeccable. Go. Right after the show.
Go see her work.
Yeah,
Go see her.
you can't see her anymore. I got asked at the host meeting today. I saw Carol Channing in Jerry's. I saw her in Hello Dolly in a revival. I also saw her in Jerry's Girls, Jerry Herman's Broadway show, and she was amazing. The voice alone was so distinctive. She could speak almost anywhere on the planet, and you instantly knew that's Carol Channing. How can you be more iconic than that? America's first drag queen, and we mourn her passing this week.
Thank you.
So next we want to talk about new favorite things. We try to point out some of our hosts' favorite things, and we're going to play that. Somebody tell me a new favorite thing that they have.
My new favorite thing, I know we were going to stop talking about the shutdown, but my new favorite thing was Cardi B's video rant talking about the shutdown this week. I thought it was hilarious and super truthful. I love that she calls for action and she says, well, I don't know what to do because that's not what the fuck I do. Well, girl, Cardi, that's what the fuck I do. So come on to Florida, we'll take a trip to Mar-a-Lago and we'll plan a little day trip.
Exactly. Other new favorite things.
Mine's slightly different. When I was in Ecuador, there was a sauce they made down there that was a hot sauce. And I found the berries, they're called gooseberries up here. They're little yellow, they're berries, but they're kind of a cross between a tomato and a berry. Anyway, I found them and they're delicious.
Gooseberries.
The snozberries taste like
gooseberries.
Other, anybody else have anything new, favorite that they like?
I do have a new. I'm still reeling over the last comments on Carol Channing, but I do have a new favorite thing, and it is my relationship with my mother. I am so happy and so blessed and so fortunate to have somebody that will support me whatever I do. And I remember a time that I was too nervous to have her come to my sports games, and now I can go on live television and have millions of viewers see me and have her here talk about fetish sex. Our relationship has grown so much.
She fainted. She just fainted.
I love you. Thank you for being you. You're an incredible person. Anyone can only be so lucky to have you.
That's a beautiful statement. Anything for you, Power? New favorite thing?
Yes. My new favorite thing
is also my mom.
Is Martin Luther King Day coming up this coming Monday. We celebrate the life and achievements of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who fought for an end to racial segregation and racial equality. And it is because of him that little boys and girls that look like me can scream out, I'm black and I'm proud. And so to him, I say thanks for sharing the dream.
That's awesome. My favorite new thing is similar in observation about Dr. King and his celebration and struggle, the struggle and now celebration of his struggle, is an event that I just learned about just this Monday here in South Florida. In 2020, there is going to be Pride of Americas. And Fort Lauderdale Pride has decided that they're going to suspend their Pride event in February 2020 and move to April of 2020 and rename it Pride of Americas to celebrate gay pride, like a world pride, but a little smaller, in the entire Western Hemisphere, to unite North America, Central America, and South America, which is so apropos
That's amazing.
in the things that we have seen over the last couple of years. And then, after Fort Lauderdale Pride does that, they'll turn the entire Pride over to another city. I think it is brilliant, and I am so impressed that the South Florida gay community represents such leadership in the Western Hemisphere of this planet to sponsor and introduce and then give it away. Pride of Americas 2020. Congratulations, Fort Lauderdale Pride. You've done yourself well. That's my new favorite thing. All right, we're going to talk about something that has been very topical this week, and we've talked about it a little bit. We had quite a heated discussion a number of episodes ago about what is gay, and it could also be what is straight. Are you gay? Does experimenting with men mean you're gay? Conversely, does experimenting with women make you straight? There's been a lot of conversation about this, that if you identify as gay, if you sleep with a woman in an experiment, does that really mean you're straight and vice versa? What do y'all think?
No. Firstly, we've all heard Power's opportunity to express his thoughts about this, so we know that. But no, being with one person one time does not make you gay. Just like one time being in a car accident or one time golfing. One time golfing doesn't make you a golfer. One time doing anything does usually not make you anything. If you're experimenting in life, then that's what it is, an experiment. There's a reason that there's a word for it. What makes you gay is if you are a male that is interested in men, and there's absolutely nothing else that makes you gay. Identifying it as anything else goes back to our conversation of toxic masculinity.
Or a woman I'd
Wait, what is my...
Well, I say lesbian, sure. Same principle in that context.
You're using gay as a bucket for both men and women.
What is, wait, you said you've heard my my thoughts on this. What is my thoughts on this? Because you actually never heard my thoughts on
I think we all did multiple times. It's, if you
Well,
suck it
explain
one
that.
time, that
Absolutely
you're gay.
The question of gay or straight, what do you think?
What we spoke about the last time was somebody that does it, engages, not experimenting. So you've not heard my thoughts on this.
Okay, all right, so what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts are actually what you said. Experimentation is a journey. So I do not believe that you're gay or straight or whatever if you are experimenting on your journey to discovery. But let us not confuse experimenting with discovery. Once you have discovered and you engage, do not call yourself this or that when you're doing all this and all that in between.
So let me ask for a point of clarity. Where is the line between experimenting and then surviving by doing those acts?
What do you mean surviving?
We were specifically several episodes ago talking about people that get paid to do these acts and that you called them gay if they had to do them to survive. Again, I know,
Well,
so where's the line?
What do you mean? What do you mean when you say survive? To me, when you say survive, means somebody has a gun to your head and says, do that. That's survive.
To me, it's being in survival mode.
Nah. Even there's a lot of, when you are a sex worker, you can choose what gender to be with. You may have to work in that industry or in that line of work to eat, but you have a choice as to who you want to sleep with, or that's your choice. Yeah, that's your choice.
I disagree. If you're working if you're working meal to meal, you're gonna do whatever gets you that meal.
Every single meal?
Every single meal. Every single meal.
I can understand.
Every single paycheck.
Okay, you like women, and one time to eat because you've been starving for 3 days, you have to sleep with a man. Okay. But every single meal you gotta sleep with men, that's no longer I'm doing it because I have to. I'm choosing the gender I want to sleep with.
That wasn't even your comment though.
Yes.
Your comment was if you suck dick and you get paid for it, you're choosing. That's not how it works.
Yes.
If you need to do it to get money, and if you need to do it to eat to survive, to do whatever survive means to you in survival mode, that's a different thing than doing it.
If you need to have sex with somebody to survive, you need to have sex with somebody to survive. But who you choose to do it with, as far as your gender, is not something that you need to do. You don't need, if you're straight, you don't need to sleep with men consistently.
Not if you can't find any other options.
Well, how can you not? There's 8 billion people in the world. You mean to tell me that you always have to sleep with men? Really?
I mean to tell you that it's not always an option to find what you want to find. Just like in life, you can't always find the right job you want to find.
I'm curious.
No.
I'm curious.
Yes, there is.
I'm
yes, there is.
Absolutely not.
Yes, there is.
I want to put somebody.
There's always an
That's
option.
just judgment.
There's always an option.
That's just judgment.
There's always an option.
And well, I'm going to turn
And
to you,
people
and you
use,
make
and,
your point.
and the reason that I say this is because I have for 25 now it's 2019. Now 25 years now I've been working with dancers and strippers and porn stars and sex workers, and I've seen consistently that they use this as some type of shield or some type of cover-up because they cannot deal with the fact that they are not toxic masculinity, they are not completely straight. And it means so much to them to be straight that they are going to continue to say, I'm straight, no matter what they do. Yes, you might need to sleep with people to make ends meet and to eat, but you don't need to consistently sleep with somebody of the same gender consistently. You have choices.
And maybe that is some people, but for you to
straight,
make a blanket statement that that's everybody just sounds ignorant because it's not everybody. It's your anecdotal experience.
Well, somebody that chooses consistently to sleep with the same gender. If that's in you that you can do that, you're not straight. I'm sorry. If you have that in you that you can do that, you are not straight. You have the ability to sleep with some both sexes. That does not straight. You are not.
I'm glad you don't
so
work on the
sorry.
Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Let me wait. Let me pull out.
That's the wrong word.
Quite that way.
So that makes you gay.
If you are, I'm going to make a broad stereotype, but just entertain my broad stereotype for a moment. I have a place at Sawmill, the largest gay co-op in America, campground. And when I first went to Sawmill, I would meet men that were over 55 years old. And I'm broad stereotype, so just entertain the stereotype. 9 out of every 10 men that I met over 55 years old had been married and had children, which is why I'm going to turn to you in a moment. They lived a life of secrecy and denial for various different reasons: acceptance, family, church. I'm not gay. I'm secretly gay sometimes, but I'm not gay, etc. 9 out of every 10 over 55-year-old gay man today identifies that way. Is that a situation where they were always gay, but they are arguing with themselves to the conclusion of going, well, I'm not gay, but occasionally I can sleep with a man. And so therefore, I'm straight, but that's the experimentation. And now I turn to you, because you were married for so long.
And have kids.
Was that your story?
Yeah,
and you keep saying this is judgment, it's judgment.
It's
is
judgment
that why
because,
you're saying it?
Yes, because I was married for 25 years. I have 4 kids, and I now state that I'm gay. But as I've said before, people are on a journey, okay? And as they journey through their own understanding, they're going to come to an understanding of who they want to say they are, whether they're straight or they're bisexual or they're gay. And it's not up to us to judge how they view themselves. It's up to us to have compassion and engage with them and help them understand.
I hear your point, but allow me to refine the challenge to you.
Okay.
Is it? I hear completely what you're saying. I hear it completely. Is there possibility, however, like with you, that the reason you went through that journey of exploration is because a family forced you to, the church forced you to, your school, your friends, etc. They forced you to be in a closet and stay in a closet even so effectively that you would say, I'm straight. And then your journey of realization is the entire society held you down for so long, then you bust out of the closet. Could that be true for you?
I don't think you can blame. I mean, there's lots of pressures, whether it be family, church, expectations, or what you think your life or your future should be. For me, I had a view that life and success was going to be a family and kids and a 2-car garage and a career where I could support them and give my children the same things that my parents had afforded me. What I had struggled with dealing with was my own feelings toward men. And over time, yes, I struggled with those from a very young age, but it was only over time
But
that I
who
came to...
created that struggle?
That struggle's been from time...
That's
but
our whole
if it's
society.
not,
Look,
if
look,
it's not
80%.
a societal, if it's not societal created, why does 8-year-old, 12-year-old, 16-year-old Joe go, there's something wrong with this? Somebody formulated an opinion that you bought into and believed and carried through a big portion of your life.
Correct, but if 85% of the world is straight, okay, and it's only 10, maybe 15% that are gay, then society, that 85%, they're going to be portraying what their normative is. And there's no way we can stop that. We can accept other things, which is what's going on now, but we can't change an 85% normative behavior. That's wrong for us to
Let us not
contemplate that.
conflate the journey that we travel to getting to the truth with the truth itself. So you, like myself, when I was young, also I grew up in the church. I was very, very religious. And I always knew that I was gay on the inside. I always knew. But I struggled and I struggled and I struggled until I came to the point where I faced that truth. You just said that you struggled and you struggled, and then eventually you discovered who you were or what have you. So you went on a journey to discover your truth, okay? And that's fine. But you discovering the truth doesn't negate the fact that the truth was always there. And so for you to say that, well, it's judgment and yes, like I said on the last show, I'm not walking around trying to find bitches to say you're this or you're that. That's not my business. What is my business is when somebody comes to me and they say, hey, I'm this or I'm that, when I know they're not. Now you're bringing your business to me. You're opening the conversation to me. And I am going to be honest and say, maybe not so much.
You're going to be honest about what you think your opinion is. Their
yes, well, of course
it's
my
again, your
well,
opinion.
of course it's my yes, of course it's yes, of course it's my opinion.
Their journey is a journey.
Okay,
and how dare you tell other people what they are?
I dare.
I see that.
I dare.
And it's wrong.
Because when somebody comes to me with the conversation, when somebody comes to me with the
heard.
conversation and wants my opinion, I dare to give it.
Both
I dare.
points
no matter,
are...
no matter who you harm in the way.
Now what? Now what? Yes, I dare. You come to me, I dare.
I'm definitely trying to move on.
Okay. Yes.
And what?
Both points of view are completely heard, and your point of view is completely heard. I'm going to move on because I think the point.
Shit on this one, apparently.
I
got nothing to say when it comes to gender fluidity or sexual orientation fluidity.
Well,
I've never heard of
see
that
this
before.
right here? And that's the reason why. I'm letting production know we're going to move to RuPaul's Drag Race here in a moment, but in summary to the issue of the issue of choice, it's something that we continue to challenge here in very fundamental ways. There's complete, very strong opinion on this subject, and we're going to, I'm sure, continue to explore it. I want to focus now as we move on to RuPaul's Drag Race. And a very interesting article has appeared about the effects of RuPaul's Drag Race. Now, RuPaul is groundbreaking. I was at the Stonewall Museum here in Fort Lauderdale on Wilton Drive this week, and there's interesting pictures of RuPaul's early career in the club scene in New York. RuPaul's Drag Race is going to start its 11th season. It's in its 4th season of All Stars, and the show, season number 10, wins the Emmy for Best Reality Show, beating The Amazing Race and The Voice. And congratulations, as we've said on this show, to RuPaul for winning Best Host, the Emmy. However, the article was interesting in saying, now, after all of this experience of RuPaul's Drag Race and the groundbreaking nature of it, it's not so good. And it's not so good because of some of the images that are portrayed in the show. The shadiness, the conflict, the bitchiness, the maybe even related effects of what people are saying as attack, kind of like the Gillette commercial that we just saw. What do y'all think to those observations of people evaluating RuPaul's Drag Race?
I found one very interesting statement in the article, and I would love to read it and actually get your all's comments on it. It says, the point of this is we need to allow discourse to happen, but this discourse needs to include all voices. If you love Drag Race, why can't you allow someone else not to like it or to have an opinion different from yours? Saying the show has racist elements, for example, should not lead one to infer that those who watch the show are also racist. And that last statement really caught me. Should not lead, because it has racist elements, for example, should not lead one to infer that those who watch the show are also racist. Because I think in society, in lots of the topics we've covered here, we automatically infer that if somebody was part of anything or had an association with somebody who was racist, we automatically label them as racist. But I would be interested in your all's view on that.
I actually, my thoughts on it actually kind of echo yours or respond to that, in that I say this all the time, all faves are problematic. We have to be able, like you said, have discourse. You gotta be able to like shit and critique it at the same time. Be willing to call out your own bullshit and quit being offended that somebody called you out. If your favorite thing is a little bit racist or your favorite thing is a little bit transphobic or whatever, you should be able to critique those things and view them in a critical sense and analyze them without it being, the end of your favorite thing or the end of your world.
Why do we have such trouble doing that?
It's hard to say, honestly. I think reflected in a few of our conversations tonight, we live in this society of absolutes, where you have to either be all the way for something or all the way against it. You have to either love RuPaul or you have to hate her.
Just like the government shutdown that we started in headlines.
Right.
Why can't we talk?
Right.
We can't.
I think the question here is any exposure better than bad exposure? I mean, it's not just with the gay community and RuPaul's Drag Race. It's with BET, it's with Telemundo. Those are two networks that heavily play into stereotypes of those cultures. And right now we're doing the same thing with Logo, where we used to be, or with RuPaul's Drag Race, the pinnacle of gay culture on TV, at least currently. So is it better to have no exposure?
That statement really, that question really strikes me at my core. Because having been through this rapid progress over the last several years of the trans community and the awareness of the trans community, yes, this is a great thing. But it's also not. The murder rate has skyrocketed. The amount of harassment that we face, the amount of just difficulties that we face has gone through the roof.
RuPaul's Drag Race has been very centric in the issue of trans-related issues.
Yes, RuPaul herself has been problematic.
And I don't want to go through it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to. We don't have the time to unpeel that here, but it's one of the examples. Any other thoughts about RuPaul's Drag Race?
I don't watch it really, so I can't really.
Okay, all right. A lot of discussion about negative portrayals in the LGBTQ community. I agree with you. I love Manila Luzon. We're getting ready now to play a game called Truth or Consequences. And we like this game a lot because in our game, we have a guest contestant that's going to play now. And if you'll join us, Chad, Truth or Consequences is a game where we're going to do some questions or an observation of statement, and our panelists are going to read some celebrity quotes. 3 of the celebrity quotes are fake. How appropriate in the world we're living in terms of fake news. And then 1 is real. And we're going to see if Chad can detect which is the real celebrity quote. So first, we welcome our contestant, Chad Spencer. Good evening, Chad. Chad, you live here in Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And is it true, because I was breathtakingly shocked when I heard it, you're actually friends with Power Infiniti?
Notorious for making bad choices.
Oh,
And
now I'm loving Chad, and Power's working on that hair.
Well, he's not friends with me anymore.
In all fairness, though, I've lowered my standards even more and hung out with you a few times recently.
And now I love you.
I like him. Can we have him as a guest host sometime?
Okay, all right. So, Chad, you understand our rules? What we're getting ready to do here, right? In terms of we're going to read some quotes to you about different subjects, and you're going to tell us which one is the real quote. Question number 1: celebrities may have good intentions, but they still look ridiculous. Let's see what some celebrities has said. Power, let's begin with you.
This quote comes from Roseanne Barr. You can't call gay men sissies if you yourself can't take a 9-inch dick or get your fudge packed.
Aaron.
I would believe that was from Al Ferguson.
Well.
Mrs. Napoleon, we're going to talk right after this show.
This is clearly not a family-friendly show.
Right.
This one comes from Tiger Woods. He said, love is a beautiful thing, but it's a two-way street. It's really tough for me to maintain a solid one-on-one relationship if the other person won't allow me to be with other people.
My goodness. Napoleon plays.
This is from drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race, Miss Laganja Estranja. Honey, I smoke weed every day. It's good for my body. It employs millions of illegal immigrants. And I don't need to send no bitch to the hospital in a fit of rage.
And finally, Joe Brookman.
And my quote's from Kelly Osbourne. If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to clean your toilets? Trump?
Ooh, all right. So there you go, Chad. Which is the real quote that you heard?
I actually think that it's Roseanne Barr, what Power said.
Roseanne Barr, Power's quote, Roseanne Barr. So now we're getting ready to show you who the real quote is, and if somebody could read the real quote.
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilets?
Psych.
Trump?
We're really sad, Chad. Oh, wait, I'm not so sad. You have missed question number 1. If you were a little more complimentary, I would have winked to you on which one was the right answer. Let's go on to question number 2. Truth or consequences? At the dinner table, celebrities shouldn't talk about politics or religion. Some interesting quotes. Power, what did your celebrity say?
Well, one celebrity that loves to talk about religion, Kirk Cameron. He said, "Why is everyone blaming guns for the Sandy Hook incidents? Have you ever thought that it was to bring glory to God? Look at Casey, who was shot in the Columbine shooting. People were saved because of her testimony. So maybe God is using the lives of these kids that were killed in Columbine to save others and bring glory to himself."
Ooh.
Wow.
Aaron.
Mine's a little lighter.
Anything is lighter than that. Jesus.
This one comes from our topic of conversation for some reason tonight, RuPaul. I've often thought that I should start my own religion. I would be the Pope, the Jesus, the Joseph, and the Mary Magdalene, honey.
Once again, I had to believe that it was you.
Napoleon.
This is from our favorite politician, Sarah Palin. I don't like to discuss politics at the dinner table. That's a place for food, family, and our Savior God. Plus, my last dinner party, I was told we'd have 2 donkeys, and after making special feed, they turned out to be Democrats.
Cool. That's good. And Joe.
My quote's by Carl Everett. The Bible never says anything about dinosaurs. You can't say there were dinosaurs when you never saw them. Someone actually saw Adam and Eve. No one ever saw Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, gosh. All right.
And here it's like you mentioned in the Bible.
There are.
Methuselah.
Don't you wonder who saw Adam and Eve? That's kind of interesting. Chad, who is the real quote?
I think what Joe said.
You think it is Carl Everett and
Yes.
Joe's celebrity. We're going to put up the slide now and read the real quote.
The Bible never says anything about dinosaurs. You can't say there were dinosaurs when you never saw them. Someone actually saw Adam and Eve. No one ever saw a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Congratulations, Chad. You got one right.
I didn't need your wing.
Now you're 1-1 with Power and Al. We'll see where this goes. Our final question, number 3. And if you get 2 out of 3 right, the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel is going to issue you a $3,000 bar tab here for 2019. And Chad, you probably won't be using a bar tab here at the Grand Hotel. Oh, so sad, too bad. So if you win, I get it. No. All right, question number 3. Are celebrities smarter than a 5th grader? Power, what does your celebrity say?
My celebrity, Trump supporter James Wood, said, "Facts are stupid things."
And Aaron, what did your celebrity say?
Oh my God. My girl Cardi B. She said, I don't really get the whole dudes being dudes for girls to get girls who like gay dudes thing. I don't know. As long as y'all buy my albums, it's all good with me.
So Cardi B, Aaron's clearly a fan.
Yeah. Napoleon?
So this one is the Biebmeister, Justin Bieber. I never really needed to go to school. I learned life on tour. I slept with so many older women, I've probably learned more from Oxytoxic than most high school grade teachers have.
Oh my goodness. And Joe, what did your celebrity say?
My quote is from Kanye West. I actually don't like thinking. I think people think I like to think a lot, and I don't. I do not like to think at all. AKA Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, right.
And for the 3rd time in a row, an Al Ferguson quote.
Right. Mrs. Napoleon, we're going to talk right after the show. All right, Chad, which is the real quote you heard here?
That's a tough one. I think Aaron, Cardi B.
Aaron's Cardi B is who you guess. That would be a Power choice versus an Al choice. So let's hear the correct celebrity quote.
I actually don't like thinking. I think people think I like to think a lot, and I don't. I do not like to think at all.
Sad but true. Kanye West said that. So, Chad, thank you very much for playing.
Thank you.
And playing Truth or Consequences.
Thank you, Chad.
We're going to move on, and we're going to talk about Stonewall now, and I give production the heads up on Stonewall. Stonewall celebration, the 50th anniversary, will take place on June 30th in New York, and we continue to celebrate on the road to Stonewall. And we celebrate the gay icons that helped the gay rights march and movement. How appropriate when Power talks about Martin Luther King celebration on Monday and his struggle in black civil rights. Stonewall is our celebration in the gay community for gay civil rights. This week, we celebrate a gay icon that everyone knows, and that is Harvey Milk. Amazing movie on his life and his short public persona as a politician. And Harvey Milk is definitely one of the gay icons that helped us on our march and road to Stonewall. And we thought what we would do tonight is to tell you some of the things that are iconic in terms of what Harvey Milk did and what Harvey Milk said. And so we're going to do that now. And Power, let's begin with you.
So something I learned in researching Harvey Milk was that I didn't realize that Harvey Milk was the one that organized the legendary Castro Street Fair, which takes place every single year in San Francisco. He organized this in 1974, which attracted 5,000 people in its first year. And by 1977, I believe it was, 70,000 people had shown up. So, and 45 years later, it is one of the most iconic events in our LGBT community, benefiting local charities in San Francisco.
Nice.
And a quote from Harvey Milk. Harvey Milk said, "The fact is that more people have been slaughtered in the name of religion than for any other single reason. That, my friends, that is true perversion.
Aaron.
Deep. Well, despite not being very pro-gay in his early career, his final speech urged all gay people to come out and to live as their authentic selves. And Harvey Milk said, "I know you cannot live on hope alone, but without hope, life is not worth living. So you, and I guess you, you gotta give him hope. You gotta give him hope."
Awesome. Napoleon.
Harvey Milk is known for what he did in the gay community, but he also did a lot of work outside of the gay community. And in San Francisco, he created a civilian board to oversee police, free public transit, and child care. So one of the quotes from Harvey Milk, he said, "Every gay person must come out. As difficult as it is, you must tell your immediate family. You must tell your relatives. You must tell your friends, if indeed they are your real friends. You must tell the people you work with. You must tell the people in the stores you shop in. Once they realize that we are all indeed their children, that we are indeed everywhere, every myth, every lie, every innuendo will be destroyed once and for all. And once you do, you will feel so much better."
And Joe.
In my research of Harvey Milk, the thing that stood out to me is he was instrumental in defeating Proposition 6 in 1978, which banned gay teachers from teaching children in schools. In 1978, Proposition 6 and his fight of Proposition 6 also started really the LGBT political activism. And I'll also note in 1978 is actually for Proposition 6 is when the Log Cabin Republicans was actually founded and were instrumental also in defeating Proposition 6. My quote for Harvey said, Harvey Milk, "Politics is theater. It doesn't matter if you win. You make a statement. You say, 'I'm here. Pay attention.'"
Wow.
And that's really what activism and LGBT activism has been. Pay attention, I'm here.
In our celebration of the road to Stonewall and our gay icon that we celebrate this week, Harvey Milk, he was the first openly gay politician in California history. He is killed for being gay just 11 months after his election. I graduated high school in 1978, that same year, and had no knowledge of him at all. Today, the entire world knows of Harvey Milk. Harvey Milk said, how prophetic, "You got to give them hope. If a bullet should enter my brain, let that bullet destroy every closet door." Our road to Stonewall is paved with many gay icons, and we invite you to celebrate on June 30th, 2019. If you can get to New York, you should. Your local communities will be celebrating, but it is really iconic. And I think it especially important this week because of Martin Luther King on Monday. I really wish Dr. King could be alive today to comment on the gay community struggle, because I quite imagine in the life of today from a Dr. King, he would probably be one of our gay icons also. So we want to move ahead, and we're going to play a game that we call This or That. And the game is a choice game. Our host pick one thing or another called This or That. Everybody know the rules. You got to choose. Please tell us this and then what it is, or that and what it is. All right, ready? Here we go. This or that. Question number 1. Let the nerd flag fly. Uh-oh.
I think I chose already, but I'll wait. I'm listening, folks. I'm listening.
I am more looking forward to this, Avengers Endgame, or that, the last season of Game of Thrones.
This Avengers Endgame.
Avengers Endgame.
This Avengers Endgame.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Endgame. Power.
This Avengers Endgame.
This Avengers Endgame, only because the little dude at home is going to be looking forward to it. No.
That, the last season of Game of Thrones. We're going to find out who's sitting on that Iron Throne. Question number 2, this or that. In the context of children.
Oh, God.
This. They should not be allowed to mess with gender roles until they at least hit puberty. Or that. Kids can explore. It does no harm. This or that. We'll save you for last.
Yet, so.
Joe, what do you think?
That. Kids can explore. There's no harm in that.
Okay.
That kids can explore. There's no harm in that. It's the parents' choice to make sure that they're being set in their correct ways.
Power.
Kids can explore.
Can explore. That.
Need to.
Gender fluid, bitch. That kids can explore.
No, that was last week. That was last week.
That was last week.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was getting ready to flip
you're
you
a
off.
bitch every
I was
week,
getting ready to flip you
Al.
off, but Napoleon Mom is sitting
Kids
in the
can and
audience.
should
All right.
explore, definitely.
Question number 3, this or that. When it comes to leather, this, I love leather. I think it is totally awesome. Or that, it has always been a little bit too weird for my taste. This or that. We'll save you for last. Power?
Yeah, if it's on my body.
This or that?
What? Versus what, on the cow?
This, do you love leather?
Like
you
the
think
leather
it's totally
community,
awesome?
the leather community?
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say. So if you want to escape
Yes,
out.
I love leather. I love the way it looks and feels.
Okay, all right. That's called an escape, America. Aaron?
This in all aspects. I love leather. The community, the clothing, the toys, whatever you got.
The toys? All right.
I've made some myself.
Joe,
hell.
really?
Oh, absolutely.
All right,
We call
Joe.
them revertibles.
Well, on this topic, I have to give a shout out to all my friends in Washington, D.C., and all those that have traveled to D.C. this weekend, because this is Mid-Atlantic Leather Weekend.
Oh.
Mid-Atlantic
Leather Weekend.
My
second
God,
biggest leather festival in the country.
Log Cabin Republican
second
knows
biggest
about the second largest leather event in the country. Wow. All right.
And so I do love leather.
You love leather. All right. Now our fetish expert, Napoleon.
Again, with Mom out there. But I will say the last time I went to MAL was actually right before Trump was elected. And the best thing about MAL is that half the people there were protesting his inauguration. So shout out to you at MAL for that. And also shout out to you in the leather community, because obviously you're sexy, you're amazing. You guys were there fighting the fight from the original Stonewall. Thank you all.
Could you? I know.
You opened
Can
the
you
door.
wake me up when he's done? All right. Question number 4. This or that.
It's past that time.
Years. One day we're going to move beyond the age jokes.
As
All
soon
right.
as you move beyond that being your limitation.
All right.
He moved beyond the age of 30.
Aren't you going to stand up for me?
I just stood up for you. What am I, top liver here?
I'm going to stand up for the leather community. You deserve it.
Okay, question number 4. This or that. Years after gaining the right, this. I am so glad we have the right to be married as a community, in our community. Or that. I am just as glad we also gained the right to get divorced. This. I celebrate marriage. Or that. I celebrate divorce.
That I celebrate divorce because we have way more than marriage to go.
Okay.
Way more.
I celebrate marriage.
You celebrate marriage?
Yes.
This or that?
I celebrate marriage.
Marriage?
Well, we all had to choose to marry one of the Trumps earlier, so maybe we all should celebrate divorce. But I celebrate marriage because it has good theory behind it.
You're 29. Are you?
This was marriage, right? I
Yes.
choose this marriage.
But you got to admit, the reason the Supreme Court acted on this to allow marriage was the lawyer lobby. Because if you accept marriage, then they get a whole hell of a lot more divorces.
They do get a lot of money. I'm curious. Napoleon, you're 29. Do you think you'll ever get married?
At least 4 times.
No, seriously. Do you think you'll get married?
I think there's a.
That's my point about lawyers.
This is unfair. I love you. Okay, so no, I think it's a possibility for sure. If I find a person that I want to marry, I'm happy to marry them, and I want to marry them on a roller coaster or in some fantastic way.
Okay, got it. Aaron, do you think you'll get married?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes or no? This or that?
Do I think I will? Yes or no? This or that? My partner's watching. This is unfair.
I love it now.
You're on the hot seat.
If
I
he
didn't say your partner.
if he were to ask in just the right way, maybe.
Does he have to, wait. Does he have to ask, or are you considering possibly asking him?
Oh,
No,
honey,
no, we're moving into the
and this isn't about the specific person. This is in general.
It was
I'm
a
a
general
diva,
question.
and if anybody is getting married, they're asking me.
By the way, surprise America, I'm sitting with 4, all completely different, but they all have commonality. They're all divas, I assure you.
Gender
Joe,
transition did
your
not change
25 years marriage and coming out, etc. Do you think you'll ever get married again?
I sincerely doubt it.
Doubt it. Okay, very good.
What if I want to?
Question number 5.
Yes.
They're flirting here at the end of the table. It goes on non-stop.
It keeps the hands on the
Lost it
table.
last week. You tried
Really?
to feign this. I was going to say, you tried to feign this. Ooh, I'm being touched. All right.
I'm a diva, bitch. I told you.
I know. That's what I just told America. Question number 5. If asked to try something new by a friend, I would rather this: try playing a video game with them, or that: watch a television show
Wow,
with
that
them.
went somewhere
This or
totally
that.
not where I thought.
Game or television?
That television, I'm terrible at video games.
Okay. This or that?
That television show.
Okay.
That television show.
Television?
This video games because I want an interactive experience.
Now, do you think, I'm just curious, do you think...
Watch the TV show with me.
Do you think the response of a video game is an age-related thing versus television?
I mean, me and Napoleon are the same age, so.
I mean, no, you're like 2 months older than me. Okay, that was a lot. No, but actually, I know what it is about video games. It's part of not even just that you're not like. Okay, no.
Never mind. Nothing constructive is going to come out of your mouth, so we'll move on.
Oh my gosh.
Question number 6. This or
I
that?
love when there's a burn and I don't even have to deliver it to Napoleon.
Question number 6. This or that? If someone were to scream the word faggot in my presence in public, I would this: let it go, not cause a scene, or that: go full on Power Infiniti on their punk ass.
I want to hear you say this.
No, you're last. Who else? This or that? I'd let it go, or whew, you're going to be unloaded.
All right, well, based on experience, I'm going to say that because you have screamed faggot in my presence. Not about me, but in general. So I'm going to definitely say that.
What?
You all weren't there. I work with him every day. It's definitely happened, and I'm going to say that. It goes back to the toxic masculinity we need to address.
Wait, and I want to make sure, and I'll own it if you explain that to me. I used that word in the context of calling somebody a name?
You weren't saying it to me, but you were saying it in general of gay culture at that point. You were saying that, and then you screamed. Not screamed is a liberal interpretation.
America.
Okay.
We're gonna follow up on this next week.
We want the internal videotape.
Yes, exactly. Right. This or that. Right. This
If you
or
don't
that.
believe it, dial 1.
Yeah.
You do.
This or that.
I
Send your
would
money
say this, but I'd say, girl, you want to talk to me? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go.
You just dismiss it.
I wouldn't go.
That
Power
hard.
Infiniti.
Okay,
No.
got it. This or
No.
that.
That, if anybody knows anything about the Wall of Love, I will light your ass up all the way down 7th Avenue in Ybor City. So,
what is that? What is
All right. Now,
We'll talk about
this
it
or
later.
that.
I think the question answered itself.
Okay, I think it did. Exactly right. All right, that's all I needed to hear. Question number 7, this or that. Less than a month before the big V-Day, Valentine's Day. This. Everybody on the panel had the same thought. All right. This: I have plans with a special someone all worked out. Or that: I'm going to lie in front of a live national audience and claim I have plans with a special someone all worked out. That. Good for you. Good for you. Others, this or that?
By the way, Valentine's Day is a Thursday, so you guys will see us live on that day.
Oh God, is it?
It is.
I was like, what day is
We'll
Valentine's
see.
Day?
The week before, I'm on a cruise, so we'll see. Maybe it'll be this. There we go.
Wishful thinking, but all right.
I'm going to go with this because I might not currently have plans, and I'll tell you if I don't, but I will have plans. So you wait for that, America.
Yeah.
So is that a this?
Yeah,
That was a that.
I'm just telling you, Rent Men is not plans, dude. It's just not. It's not for Valentine's
Yes.
Day.
Do you have a problem when you scream faggot at me now?
I hate to come to Napoleon's defense, but yes, it is.
Okay, I give up. All right. All right, so that's our show this week. We told you we're going to find out, and we're going to report back to you next week. We're wondering if we got taken off the air by talking about shag, marry, kill.
And,
and
we don't want to kill Trump, we promise.
And if Secret Service will show up at my house again.
Yeah. Power has been talking all through the show about the Secret Service showing up. But when you say the kind of stuff you see, frankly, I'm the one that called the Secret Service.
I'm sure, yeah.
The question is, were they cute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's our show this week.
He's calling him back.
We have to, first and foremost, say exactly like we did at the top of the show.
This was live.
We are coming live. Everything you saw is live. It is not scripted in any way. We want to again thank the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel. It's at the corner of Powerline and Commercial in the heart of central Fort Lauderdale. And we have a great new partnership with them, and you're going to see all kinds of fantastic things come in the next year, including a weekly Sunday pool party, but many, many more things like that. So again, we thank the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel for their gracious hosting of us tonight. That's our show tonight. We want to thank you, and on behalf of my friend Power Infiniti,
for another episode of I Said What I Said. Good night, children.
and Aaron Phoenix.
Gender fluid, bitch. Good night, gender fuckers.
All right. And Napoleon Plays.
Good night, Betty White. Happy 97th birthday.
Nice. And my friend Joe Brookman.
Love you, family. We'll see you soon.
And listen, America, we tell you this over and over again. I've been involved in this conversation 3 or 4 times this week alone. We believe in the gay community. We believe in gay culture. We're doing this show talking about the things that we are talking about because we believe it. And you remember, if it's important to you, it's happening out. Good night, America.
Good night.